So now I'm going to show you how to thread these various machines. On this particular model, we'll take the machine with the thread coming counterclockwise off of the spool of thread up through these thread guides here. Once again, many of these machines will actually have a printed thread guide on the machine. So we're going to follow this thread guide. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, down and around the tension, back up. That was 5, this is 6, and then we'll thread the machine, we'll thread the needle. On this machine over here, it's very similar, but not quite as many steps. On this machine, once again, having the thread come off counterclockwise, we're going to follow this thread guide. We're going to go behind there, down 1, up through the thread uptake lever, and then back down. So most of the time they thread from right to left, top to bottom. So if you can remember that, most machines are easy to thread. On this particular older model, it's the same way. We go from the spool pin. There's a tension on the back side, and then down through the tension and the thread upkeep and on down through and to the needle. So then once we have threaded our machine, we need to thread the needle. When it comes to needles on machines, different machines require certain needles, but for the most part, they will all take a universal needle. Should you need to change your needle, it's a very simple procedure. There is a screw here that holds your needle into place. You would unscrew that, remove the old needle, and insert a new one. What most people don't understand is that there is a flat side to each needle, and that flat side needs to go towards the back of your needle keeper. Make sure that you fully insert the needle and tighten it really tight, or when the needle goes down into the hook mechanism, it can offset the timing of your machine and then will need to be fixed. So in this case, this one has an automatic threader, as does this one. And automatic threaders are easy to use if you know how to use them. So I will demonstrate how to do that. On this particular machine, this automatic threader is a small mechanism that you pull down and move towards the needle. There is a hook on here. So if you pull this down and move it towards the needle, that hook will come into the needle eye, which will grab the thread and pull it through. In order to use this, you're going to pull it down, insert the hook into the eye of the needle, take your thread to the left of the guide, pull it in, and release. As you can see, there is a small loop on the back side of that needle. At that point, you just grab that loop, pull it through, and your needle is threaded. The next step is to use your hand wheel on the side of your machine, turn it 1 time toward you, and it will take your needle down into the bobbin area, and it will pull your bobbin thread up out of the bobbin case. And now you have both of your threads on the top side of your machine. You'll just pull them back underneath your pressure foot, put your hook plate back into place, and you're ready to sew. When you are sewing and you start your machine, many times people complain that their needle comes unthreaded all the time. Something you want to make sure that you do is when you begin stitching is to hold both your bobbin thread and your top thread as you begin stitching. And that should help you from losing your thread in your needle as you begin to stitch. Also, when you remove the item that you have been sewing, always leave a tail of thread from your machine so that it will not unthread the needle when you begin stitching. Some other things I wanted to talk to you about today is some troubleshooting should your machine not be stitching the way you would like for it to be stitching. The first thing I always suggest when people ask me, well, my machine isn't stitching like it has been or should be, I ask them, have you changed the needle recently? I have a friend that told me one time that by replacing the needle 50% of the time, that will correct any problems that your machine is having when you are stitching. Another problem I tell people is to make sure that you use a good quality thread. Fluffy, cheaper threads tend to have lots of little filaments. And those filaments will come undone within your threading of your machine. It'll knot up around your needle, it'll gum up in your bobbin, and it too will cause your thread to break over and over again. So never buy cheap thread if you're going to invest the time into sewing something. Always buy good quality thread. Another troubleshooting problem that a lot of people have is they fail to clean their machines. Some things you can do with the simple little brush that your machine often comes with. If it is a major problem, you do want to have it professionally maintained so that your machine works the best that it should. Another problem that many folks will call and ask me about is they can't get their machine to work. Often, they have failed to unengage the bobbin pin. On this machine over here would be an example of not engaging. A lot of times they'll unengage that when they remove the bobbin, but somehow at some point it's been re-engaged and that will not allow the machine to stitch. Or on an older model where you have to loosen the hand wheel to allow the bobbin to properly wind, they fail to re-tighten the hand wheel. So always check those two pieces if you're having a problem with your machine wanting to stitch. Also, just make sure that it is properly plugged in. That sometimes a machine will looks like it's plugged in, but it's only halfway, so it does need to be connected fully for it to work. So that completes my video today of how to thread a machine, how to run a bobbin, and how to insert your bobbin and pull the threads up so that you can begin stitching. If you have any questions, always refer to your local sewing machine center, or you can give me a call here at the Scott County office of the West Plains Extension District. I am not a professional in cleaning machines, but I can always give you a few hints of how you might troubleshoot some problems that you might have. Thank you for watching today.